Hello, people. I'm here today with a special guest, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, the chairman of GTES Holdings, Forbes Council member, Forbes Best of Africa's investment coach, a real estate mogul with real estate acreages across Africa and the United States. It's a big pleasure for me to have him in the show today in the studio. And I'm so delighted. A lot is going to be shared, a lot of insight and wisdom. So please stay tuned. Dr. Stephen Akintayo is someone that is hard to get. We're blessed to have him in Ottawa over the last few days. He's impacted our communities here. And I'm hoping that for the few minutes that we have today, you'll be able to draw a couple of lessons from his wealth of experience. Dr. Akintayo's website is www.stephenakintayostore.com. His IG handle at Stephen Akintayo and his YouTube handle at Stephen Akintayo Production. Yeah, I didn't know I would have this caliber of guests this early in the show. And like I said, it's a big privilege for me. And I'm hoping that you stay tuned from the start to the end. It's very rare to see people who are both successful and great in the sense that they're not just being a success for themselves and their families and their, and the people in their corner. They are wanting to bless the world and help many more people to be successful. That's what it represents and is here in the room. And I'll be taking you through a couple questions. Hearing is secret. They say the secret of great people are in their stories. So he's going to share some stories with us, some insights, and I trust that your life will experience some changes and transformation as you stay tuned with us. So, DSA, as they call you, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, you want to tell us a bit about yourself and your entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, thank you for having me. It's good to be here. I'm Stephen Akintayo. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a real estate investor and developer. I'm an author. I've authored over 45 books. Husband of one wife and 3 children.
Important to say. Yeah.
I think that's it. I'm a public speaker, author, TV host, a couple of interests here and there. Yeah.
Awesome. How did you get started on your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. Well, it was about 22 years ago now. I stumbled on a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and was a teenager, and we're really poor as a family, and I remember just being angry with my mom that we're poor, and sometimes like, why are we poor? And she would say, it's because she didn't have a university degree. That if she had a degree, her promotion would have been faster, and we would not be in this situation. Because she used to take me to a neighbor to borrow money to send me to school. And my dad's business had collapsed, so it was my mom and 5 children. So by the time I stumbled on that book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, it showed me that wealth isn't a function of job. Was a function of owning a business or being an investor. And it just totally changed my mindset. So the first business I did was called GNLD. It was a multi-level marketing business. And I literally used to hawk those, and I was a shy person. So I remember I would hold the supplement just like this, and I'm talking to you and I'm like, this supplement is very good for your health. It's because I couldn't look at anybody eyeball to eyeball, I was that shy. But that's how my entrepreneurship journey started. And I was happy that it was a multi-level marketing, because that then taught me how to sell and the importance of sales, because we wouldn't be here in business if we didn't master the art of selling. Because ultimately, entrepreneurship is very, at the core of entrepreneurship is your ability to sell.
Yeah. True. So you didn't start off selling estates?
No. Oh,
You know,
no,
some
no.
people want to start at that level.
Real estate was even started 10 years ago.
Mm.
Was even one of the earliest form of our business. Before real estate, I've done almost 20 businesses.
Wow.
Most of them didn't work.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, I'd failed in many businesses, tried many, that just didn't work.
Wow. Yeah, talking about that, would you, as a serial entrepreneur, would you say that it's better to start out wide, invest in several ventures, and at some point concentrate, or like the Dangote model, stay focused on one, and at some point you diversify into several industries? So what would you say is the better path to success?
Absolutely. Start with one. Dangote himself started with just importation, not even with manufacturing. In fact, according to him, why he dabbled into manufacturing was because he then started having enough capital, because most companies will pay him ahead. And so he had so much liquid, and just felt rather important I could produce locally. So start with one thing. I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't succeed in some of our businesses, because at some point, trying to do 4 businesses at the same time, and it just won't work. I think the business that eventually paid off was the bulk SMS business. And the secret to that was that I focused on just that one business until we started consulting for multinationals, and we became the major household name when it comes to that industry. So
that was, I think that was my first time hearing.
You heard
GTES,
yeah.
When bulk SMS was
a thing. Yeah, we used to Gilead Balm SMS and all of that. And the word is this: the money is in the niches. So focus on a niche.
Sure.
Is when you have grown that niche into something big, then you have enough capital to employ more people, to put in enough structure. At that point, you can diversify.
Awesome. You gave us a gift this morning on your IG handle about the purple cow. I was like, that's this. I'd heard it a long time ago from, I think Seth Godin or something.
Yes, Seth Godin.
Yeah, so great I saw that. I was like, okay, that's something new for the quarter.
But you are doing purple cow now. Your car has gyro on top. That's a purple cow right there.
Thank you.
Right there.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So I know that your space is quite. There are a couple developers in your space.
Yeah.
So using that concept, how have you been able to differentiate your work?
Yeah, I think it's not just in real estate. I think generally, globally, you want to be that purple cow. You want to be unique. You want to be different. It has to be easy to spot you, because there's so many other people trying to do what you're doing. And in business, everybody else is trying to start something. Everybody's CEO, everybody's an entrepreneur. So you have to figure out how to be that purple cow. But you must understand that being the purple cow comes at a cost. People will just see you as weird. There's just something odd. There's just something weird. I'll give an example of a purple cow. I know a gentleman in South Africa is probably one of the biggest motivational speakers. I remember meeting one South Africa. I said, "You guys don't like this guy. Can you just even tell me one thing that you make well, we just don't like the way he talks. We just don't." But I said, "Just tell me, give me like one offense."
I think I know the name of the
yeah. Like, let me know one offense, because today is trending on Twitter. Tomorrow is. What exactly do you have? Did this steal your money? We just don't like the guy. And that's because he's a purple cow.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to use the purple cow strategy, you must understand that people at some point will just not be comfortable with you. There will just be this air about you, about your name. But guess what? It doesn't matter. You're achieving what you want to achieve.
True.
Because you stand out. Because those who really matter will then patronize you. Other purple cows will recognize you and flock around you, instead of having all this group of fake people around your life who really don't care about you.
True. And don't matter so
much.
And
don't matter so much. And then those are now your core. You don't want to have those kind of people as your core.
Yeah.
You want other purple cow as your core connections and relationships.
Sure.
So be unique, be different. And sometimes the approach, the way you go about things, the till today, people don't know I'm very conservative. Okay, they don't.
Yeah.
And part of my purple cow strategy was to be unconservative, particularly with my approach with social media, with how I, present myself. I remember when we expanded our business to Dubai, I said, look, I'm a Nigerian. That's a disadvantage already. I'm black. That's a disadvantage. To come and tell somebody to buy property of $10 million, $40 million, they will not buy. So what is my purple cow strategy in Dubai? And you won't believe it. The purple cow strategy for me was go and live in Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world.
Yeah.
Get yourself a Rolls Royce. Get a driver that is not even of your skin color. Part of the purple cow strategy. And then every morning, let's record yourself coming out of Burj Khalifa. Enter your Rolls Royce and go to work. Right? Purple cow strategy.
That makes a statement.
Yes. And I can assure you, in 1 year, we became the largest black-owned property brokerage firm in Dubai. In 1 year.
Wow.
Purple cow strategy. Of course, that meant some people were like, we don't know.
Offended,
If at some point they used to write hush puppy around my post, like another hush puppy has come, So, but as long as you can learn to be comfortable with your own skin, you know your strategy. You are. I always say that you have overcome poverty by 50% the day. You overcome the need to please other people. Correct, to care about what people say. It's their opinion. They always talk. Once you can overcome all that, then you can use a purple cow strategy.
Wow, amazing. I think we can pick on the last point you made. You said something when we're having, every moment we do is a time to learn. You said something about jealousy being a compliment. I thought about that living. It was a food for thought. Jealousy being a compliment. What kind of skin does a budding entrepreneur out there or someone who is already in it and like, should I go back? What kind of posture and skin does an entrepreneur need to have to thrive?
A tough one, tough skin. The word is that jealousy is the highest form of compliment. It takes, is so much flattery for somebody to begin to dissect your story, your life, what you do, what you don't do, how they don't like your approach, how they think it's. And I always get those feedback. This person's talking about you. This person said this about. In fact, some of them I make them uncomfortable because I'll just approach you. I say, well, by the way, so person told me you said I'm this. no, I didn't say so. And I watch the person react and I just laugh, right? But for me you've just told me that I matter so much to you.
Yeah. That
you had to be talking either positive or negative, particularly negative, And I tell people this, people who don't like you, who don't hate you, have a higher chance of becoming your customer than those who like you. Yeah. Because your enemies are paying more attention to you than your friends.
That's true.
I can assure you that.
Your friends, they know you too.
Your friends,
care
my
about
guy.
what you're saying.
Sometimes even when you have some success story and someone says, don't be him, don't be Steve, there's nothing he can do. But your enemy is the one that says, no, let's research that thing. I'm not sure he really did it.
Let's take a second look.
Exactly, let's take it. So your enemies are paying way more attention.
Sure.
But guess what? If you really are doing the right thing, it's a matter of time. They will become your lovers and your customer before they even know it. Right? And it's happened. We both have same spiritual father. My first time hearing about my pastor was negative. It was so much so that I made up my mind I would never attend Winners Chapel. I remember writing a letter to Bishop about this story. I just said no. Because I gave my life to Christ. I was SU, evangelical. So what they told me that all those churches, prosperity is money, they keep talking. So I said,
fake
I will
news.
never be there.
Yeah.
Never. You won't see me there. I will not. And this was in the 90s that I heard this story, late 90s. So I had made up my mind, nope. And incidentally, Winners then was the same fence with my secondary school. So every time they start service, these people going to hell. They are not Christians. They are not. But I then stay with a family that attend winners when I was to do my, JAMB exam, and they insisted I must attend winners with them, and so I had no choice. And the first service, I remember it was a month of holiness. It's like, am I in the right church, or was it a mistake?
What have I been hearing?
Exactly. These people are teaching holiness. I thought it's money. And before you say Jack Robinson is 22 years now in the ministry. So they've been blessed by that ministry. So your enemies have a higher chance of becoming your friends and business partners and investors than even your friends.
Amazing. That's very deep. I mean, yeah, you just need to think about that very deeply. very, very true. Let's take a deeper dive. I wonder sometimes, how do you manage all of your expressions? CEO to several companies, in different countries, in different time zones, author of 45 books. I mean, I want to be like you. With all of the writers block we fight with, 1 million followers on Instagram. I mean, that's a country. Think about it. I was in the Bahamas some years back. Bahamas is about 400,000 people. So you probably have you have a country waiting to hear from you. How do you manage all of these expressions?
Well, I think one of the things we did right early was to have systems. I'm big on systems. I'm big on people. You believe it or not, my first 4 hours today was on people.
Wow.
Meetings with our team, management team. A new guy is joining us in the US, at the director level. Conversation with a recruitment firm that is helping us to get people in our US office. People, systems, right? So for every business I build it on people. From day one, I have my successor. Day one,
train them.
Yes. Day one, I'm like, okay, am I building this business on this person, right? So that this person runs it, and I'm not having a headache of day-to-day work and all of that. So and in the early stage of our company as well, we kept training people, even to the detriment of our bottom line. We end up the year in debt, and the only reason we ran into debt was because we spent so much money on training, retreat, conferences for our staff, and so. But today it's paying off, because those who used to be interns in our company are now MDs, and they are loyal, It's amazing how many people go after our leaders. It will shock you. Like literally trying to take them. The other day, somebody was reaching out to one of them and saying, well, I want to buy your property, but you need to add more to it than your boss gave you. And there's the person said, no, we don't do that. And he looked at the guy and said, well, you are not ready to make money. I can't do business with you. And a property agent was telling her that. You see people reach out to our people and say, well, can you spy for me in your company? And then the person said, no, I can't spy. So I'll look for somebody else in your company to spy for me. And in my mind, I'm like, why are you spying? Just come and ask me. I will tell you directly. If I put it in books, right? There's nothing to spy. There's nothing to spy. Like, you're even wasting a whole lot spying on what the person cannot even, whoever is your spy will not narrate it better than I will have in my books or in the coaching that I'm doing. Just have the humility to learn, and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, I learned from Unity. I picked. I don't know why sometimes ego stand in the way, but for us is we put in systems. We've done our best. We're not perfect, but we've done our best to raise leaders, invest in them, and it has helped a good number to be loyal. Yeah, some have been disloyal, have lost so much, as well. It's been so painful sometimes, but you have to focus on your wins and your losses.
Absolutely. You mentioned also during the weekend session that you could turn Sambisa Forest into into Dubai.
Yeah, I
I was
said
like,
on China's television once. If
I can imagine
if
some backlash you would
if
have
the
gotten.
government can give, it's funny enough, people like this. If the
Mm.
government can give me the CFO
Mm.
of Sambisa Forest,
Mm.
yeah, I will turn it to another Dubai, and I'm not kidding.
Mm.
You would think that thing is an outrageous statement, but I just went through a company. There's a company here called Urbandale here in Canada.
I know them. Yeah.
You know them. And some of the smaller cities here in Canada, they were sharing about a particular community that they own 75% of the properties there. Right? They found that there were two founders. One is late, the other is over 90 something. And the story was that they started buying small land here. Small, and today Urbandale at some point before COVID was launching 2,200 properties every year that they're chunking into the Canada market. They currently control from commercial to residential, running to probably hundreds of thousands of properties.
Wow.
Okay. And in their lifetime, now the son of one of the founders is in charge of their construction business. It's obviously a the current leader I met is not even the founder. So, but that tells you it's possible.
Yeah.
It's happening all over the world. There are, people pick up, and when they were buying all these places, we now see, even MFM here in Ottawa uses their building, and that entire place was built by this same Urbandale, right? So we can do it as well. Absolutely. We just need to be people, and the best time is when you're young.
Yeah.
If you can't dream and dare and make declarations and bold ones when you are young, what will you do when you are old? Right? It's better to fail trying the right thing than not to try at all.
That's very deep, though. It's better to fail trying out something.
Yeah, that is right.
Yeah,
than not try at all.
Not try at all.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very deep. I mean, if Dubai is desert,
exactly.
Sambisa is not a desert.
Thank you. No,
now I see that this is possible.
Has some desert, and that's why I won't even mind. But Sambisa still has, the desert of Sambisa is still way better than that of Dubai. It's not as hot as Dubai. It's hot as well. There's so many minerals, in those places. UAE is not even that fortunate, and people don't still believe it. UAE moved from a third world country to a first world country in a decade, in a century, in less than 100 years. So who says we cannot do it? We can. We just need the right leaders. And leaders now is not,
right leaders, I think
leader now is not always politicians, because all the time we see leadership from politics. We need the right business leaders.
True.
Right?
Absolutely.
We need the right leaders even in organization, entrepreneurs, people who will be loyal where they work and not be looking for the downfall of the same company that pay their salary. So a lot has to change, and it's not just political leaders alone.
Okay, talking about that, do you think that some people will be better off even as employees than rushing into being CEOs?
Absolutely. Everybody can be an entrepreneur. No. What it takes to be an entrepreneur is a whole different. You have to be born differently, wired differently. Even if you're not born differently, but trained differently to be an entrepreneur. Because people always talk. It will always be your fault. There will be seasons where
you take all the blames.
You can put the blame on me.
Yeah.
There will always be seasons also that there will be downtime in your business and your investors will panic. It's happening with Elon Musk right now.
Correct, yeah.
Where your investors will be like, he's a scammer. Our interest is going down. Your employees also will have times where they feel you are the worst leader ever. So it's not everybody that can take that kind of heat, that is wired that way, that can endure what a typical entrepreneur will endure. But you can be an intrapreneur, which is that you practice your entrepreneurship within the company you currently work for.
Yeah.
You
Taking
think like you own the business,
Yeah.
you take initiative, you come up with new products, you come up with new business ideas, new business concerns, you keep pushing it to your management. And it's people like that that eventually end up taking over companies. Like Amazon has produced, Microsoft has produced 3 to 4 employees that are billionaires today. Amazon current CEO was an entrepreneur, right? He was working at Amazon when he made the advice for them to go for AWS, you know, and when Jeff Bezos was stepping aside, who best fits than somebody who was an employee but started acting like an entrepreneur within the organization. So that's the mindset that we need to also preach, because some of books, some of these books like Read That Poor Dad, if you don't read it right, you get the wrong mindset. Oh, I can never be rich as an entrepreneur. I must go and start a business. The book was very clear. There were 2 pathways. Why do you focus on one? Right? You can own a business or you be an investor.
The danger of a single story.
You see? Yeah. So people leave the investment part and focus on, I must own my business. Meanwhile, the man gave you 2 options here. 2 options here. So, and the easiest one is entrepreneurship, investment rather, than even entrepreneurship. Because entrepreneurship is a whole journey that can take you 16 years.
Yeah.
As a registered company, is 17 years. As non-registered, is 22 years. And we're still on it.
Still on it.
So, how many people can endure that long? But in investment, you can gradually get mentorship. The only rule is get a mentor who has moved his own wealth from one level to another, that is guiding you to the day you have $50,000, this is what you need to do. The day you have $100,000, this is what you need to do. I know somebody watching this podcast say, how about those of us who don't have $50,000? Start with a book. That's where I started from. Right? I didn't start with business. I started by buying a book that taught me about entrepreneurship, about investment. Start there.
Sure.
I always say this, and this is a powerful statement nobody should forget. When your capital for business is not enough, turn it to a seed in your brain, right? In other words, turn it to a seed that you use to buy content that you invest into your brain. That's the where to start from. So when your capital is not enough to start a business, turn that what you have to a seed, where you then use that seed to buy materials, seminars, courses that you're going to invest in your brain. Your biggest assets as an entrepreneur, as somebody who's going for success, is your brain.
Yeah.
It's not a car, it's not a house. You can lose all of that.
Yeah, this is the factor of production.
This is it. You must keep putting in, feeding it heavy stuff. Right? I've gotten to a point now. Most of the conferences I attend is where billionaires are seated in dollars and they are sharing their stories. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear aspire to acquire to require.
Yeah, I mean, this is a motivational session. You're looking out for that. That's you're in the wrong room. I mean, this is just amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, take away from that point is it's entirely possible to be a billionaire as an employee.
Absolutely.
You had mentioned Microsoft. Even in Nigeria, I think I saw one news item about the
MTN CEO is one of the highest paid, and he's an employee.
Billionaire.
Right? Yes. Highest paid. There are a lot of people, a lot of Dangote's leaders too. I mean, when you look at, a lot of his leaders too are very wealthy. I mean, there are several corporations that have chunked out extremely wealthy people. I'm not asking you not to start business, but not everybody is wired
for it.
So if you notice you're not wired for it, then at least the Bible says that if you are not faithful in that which is another man, who will give you your own. Yeah. So start by being faithful in another man's business. Run another man's business like it's your own, like you own it.
True.
And you watch how God will open other doors.
Absolutely. Let's talk about movement of capital now. The diaspora community is growing.
Yeah.
I think
Heavy.
some data said last year or 2 years ago, the remittances that came into Nigeria was even more than the forex from crude oil sales.
Wow.
So that's how much money is moving that way. We of course do know that most of them are for expenses, households, they're
Burial,
calling their
wedding,
party,
party.
all of that. So number one question is it safe to bring this resource home for investment? Do you get? I mean, there was the news that came out recently about landmark owner, and I think there was one estate bid by diasporans in Ajah or something, Lagos, that was destroyed. So would you say it's safe for diasporans looking to invest back home?
Well, my advice is simple. We need to first change how we see business or investment. It's a risk. There's a reason why here in Canada, as well as in the US, it is illegal for you to ask people to invest in your business and give them guarantees. You can go to jail. And it's because the government has realized that you cannot just promise somebody.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees to life. There's no guarantee to anything.
Absolutely.
It's a risk. So I think that's the first step. We must be open to the fact that we're taking risk anytime we want to do business, anytime we want to invest anywhere. And you should still go ahead and take it, but calculated, of course.
Yeah.
Ask questions, get mentorship, get advice. What I often see, even the landmark story, we need to be clear. Landmarks still exist. Massive locations, cinemas there. I mean, we use landmark.
The event center.
We still use it a few months ago in October. We use landmark a lot for our events, so it still exists. A portion of it was lost. We also lost over 500 million due to that same coastal road.
Wow.
Yeah, so we lost 5 acres.
Wow.
Then in our case, we have done fence, we have done internal road interlocking and all of that, and all that gone. Some filling, all gone.
Wow. No compensation?
Yeah, no can't wait.
Come on now.
No, nothing. You ain't gonna get anything. So we lost money. But will I give up? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. The kind of money you make in Nigeria, you make it in Canada, you make it in UK, you make it in US. If people make it here, they won't have been investing back home anyway.
True.
Right? Because
Fair point.
it's only in Nigeria you buy a land, and 5 years from now, the land you bought for $20,000 is worth $200,000. That won't happen here in Canada. That won't happen in the UK. That won't happen in the US. Having said that, I think Nigerians and Africans generally should diversify. That's what we've done. We have massive expansion in Nigeria. Now, virtually every week we're launching a new estate. Massive. Wow. An average of 100 acres in Nigeria.
Wow.
But at the same time, we're in Dubai. At the same time, we're in the UK. At the same time, we're in the US. Okay? And doing massive $200 million expansion in the US.
Wow.
So
That's
for us is you have to diversify. That's my advice to diaspora. Why will you be in Canada and you invest in Canada? It doesn't even make sense. Right? Have some investment here.
Yeah.
While you still have some in Nigeria. There's no way that all the economy will collapse at the same time.
True.
So diversify. That's my advice. But to say you won't invest back at home, I don't think it makes sense. Just get mentors. Get people who have resources. To advise you. And when you lose money, focus on what you are gaining. When we lost that 500 million, we're just focusing on, the land is now prime.
Yeah.
Because it's now directly facing that coastal road. Can I focus on
what you have left?
What's left on the gains rather than the losses? Because in reality, yes, you've lost 5 acres, but the remaining land has more than double or triple in value because it's not facing that kind of road. And you always lose. I mean, many of you have lost money in Canada. Who did you shout on? You've lost money in UK. I have lost a lot of money in Dubai. The last time I lost $1 million in Dubai. It lost,
$1 million.
If I would check even what we're doing in the US, if I would just brief analysis, I can tell we've lost due to one thing or the other about $300,000 already. You're a millionaire because you've lost millions. You're a billionaire because you've lost billions. You're a thousandaire because you've lost thousand. You're a zeronaire because you've lost zero. Right?
It's a good place to clap. Yes. I mean, that mindset shift is critical.
It's critical. Our people have to have it. Right? Losing is part of losses, and failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is on your way to success.
Yeah.
It's part of succeeding.
A millionaire must have lost me.
Yeah. There's none. $1 lost $1 billion in one day. When real rich people meet, that's what they discuss.
That's what they're discussing.
Not, when poor people meet, hey, see, they don't scam you. They don't cheat you.
Yeah.
When rich people, you laugh about it and you look at what were the mistakes, what are the lessons learned, what are things you're putting in place so that it doesn't happen next time. That's it. But we Africans, you see somebody literally start a Facebook page over $1,000.
The time and energy that you have used.
Because we just don't even understand how money is made. Money is made from the quality of your time, what you use your time for. So the energy you're using to shout, I lost money, when you do that, you are killing the reputation of the black race. You're telling more people to say, don't ever trust a black person. Yeah. Don't Indians lose money to themselves? Absolutely. How many times have they called each other out? Don't the Chinese lose money to themselves? How many times have they called each other out? Don't the Jews? I've asked these people, I said, look, why is it that your community continue to own, everything? Don't you people lose money to each other? Don't you have members of your community that steal and scam you? They said they do. The rule is that they leave that person and move to the next person that they can trust in that community. They even ask some of the leaders and say, well, this person, we had this experience. Who else can you recommend that we can trust? And then they move on with the person, but they don't give up on their community because they lost something. You don't give up on investing in Nigeria because you've lost something. Yeah. You don't give up in investing in Lagos because you lost something. You should focus. Lagos is soon going to be the largest city in the world by the year 2100, according to Washington Post. Yeah. It's going to have over 80 million people there.
Youngest population.
And if you understand how that works, you know that by just owning 400 square meters in Lagos, in the next 40 years, you're a billionaire.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Because you see, what they were telling me where I was coming from before coming to your place, that urban deal, they were sharing how they were buying all this land for peanuts. And they've built massive multi-billion wealth because they were just buying it years ago for peanut. So when you are buying land in Lagos and it's surrounding today, I assure you it's peanut compared to what's going
to become the value.
It's peanut. But diversify. We lose some, we gain some, we move on.
In business school, they taught us ignore sunk cost, but it looks like it's easier to know the academic part of it than the reality of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to ignore.
It is hard. And by the way, it's not easy, even for me.
To lose $1 billion.
We had a deal, and then I called my team for a meeting. About $100,000 was about going. Do you know, they all got depressed. I had to be encouraging. And it wasn't their money.
Yeah.
They were just my team members.
Depressed for you.
They were depressed. So I know what it means to lose money. It's painful, it's tough, but if you dwell on the losses, you will make more. And there's so much more you can make here.
Awesome. To drill down on that question, if someone was going to invest in real estate, would you say, I know you've written a lot on several of these ventures.
Yeah.
Would you say, which of them would you consider with the highest ROI? Land banking, buy and rent, or short let? Which would you consider to be a good way to invest?
So I tell people, I said, again, what I love about real estate is that real estate is one of those fields that even within real estate, you can diversify. right? So you can, I teach about, if you go for my real estate course, I teach 8 ways to make money from real estate. You can decide to be a broker or an agent, and you're just making commission on any sale. You can do short let, what we call Airbnb. You can do build to rent. You can do rent to rent. You can do land banking. So you just have to look at yourself, who you are, where you are, your unique situation, and analyze which of these real estate opportunity you want to go for. But study them first. Understand? That's why I always encourage people to go through that type, so that you just understand. When you understand the various models, you know which one fits you. For example, I don't have money as at the time I'm watching this podcast, but I want to go into real estate. Then consider being an agent, because the cost of being an agent is almost next to zero. So start there. I already have some money, but that money is not enough to buy a house in Canada or in UK or in Dubai. But start with a land, right? Start with a land. I can't buy land. We are selling land now, giving people in the US, giving people opportunity to even deposit as low as $10,000. With $40,000, you own a land and you can leave it. We even handle all the tax, everything. See, and this is why we're saying not taking risk is risk.
Sure.
Last year we got this property in Brookshire, and before even closing on the deal, Tesla announced they were building a factory. Wow. The value just moved by 50% across all the land around that area.
Wow.
Right? What if I even decide to hold on a bit? I will pay 50% of what I paid, even if I still go ahead to buy it. Right? So, and imagine what will happen 5 years from now. Right? Because just announcement, value went up. What if when they have done building and there are people are there, what other company want to come there?
True.
Because so we have to just be study, understand the various opportunities, look at where you are, and then start from there.
Awesome.
But get a coach. The money, you don't know how much you are losing not having a coach. People have no idea.
Try and error.
You're on the trial and error. They have no idea. Not only are you not maximizing what you should maximize, you're also having a situation whereby you rise and fall. We're sharing this with one of the pastors that hosted me here. We're sharing how he started trading Forex and grew the thing to over 450,000. He had opportunity to buy land, move some of the profit into land. He was saying, no, it's about to increase. In one day, he lost 350,000. One day alone.
Wow.
Right? And I remember saying to him, did you have a mentor? Did you even have somebody to hold you down? Somebody you're accountable to, somebody who will have, even if you didn't feel like doing the right thing, the person says, right now, move, do this, do that. People don't have it. And the reason they don't have it is because somebody is probably thinking, watching, they should make it free. Why would they make it free? Am I the one that you send when you grow that money, will you send it the money to me? It's your money. Exactly. Thank you. And you know what's funny? People are not generous to their business mentors like they are to their church pastor. Right? So what's the point here? You should be willing to pay to learn or serve to learn.
True.
But
two pathway too.
Two pathway. Either you serve or you pay. But you must get a mentor. You must have somebody, because the pastor was just, how I wish I knew you then. How I wish, because I didn't even know his story when I was teaching them to say, when you do high risk, pull out some of, always pull out every 50% of the money, the profit that you've gotten, and then put it into like real estate and this. And he said, how I wish I had known you. I probably would have built that wealth, because this was maybe 10 years ago or something. So I would probably have built that into over $100 million.
Probably retired by now.
Yes.
Oh boy. Anyway, I mean, for some big boy out there that is watching us, some people have moved past I buy a house, either live in it, rent it out. Some people are thinking about to buy acreages like you. They want
They're
to
welcome.
play. They
They're
want to
welcome.
play in the upstream value. So what would you say to them? What tip would you give them? I mean, obviously you need to go with a lion heart. Obviously, I mean, but what would you say to
To
them?
have a lion heart, you must have a lion mentor, a lion father. It's as simple as that.
Sure.
A lot of times people ask, why was I able to dare $200 million project in the US? We're still on it. It's simply because Grant Cardone, who happened to be my real estate mentor, and I had to go study him.
That's like number one in the world, I think, arguably.
Arguably, yeah. Paid over $50,000 that I've paid for his coaching, his mentor. At some point, I got his company to mentor my staff.
Wow.
Yeah. And but because I had a mentor who already has $8 billion worth of real estate portfolio, it was easy to dare starting big, right? You can start big when you have a big boss, a big mentor, a big person to mentor you. So that would be the same rule. If you're a big boy, then be willing to have a big mentor. It's as simple. That's the proof.
Yeah.
And the proof of that you are really a big boy is that you can write a check of 50,000 for mentorship.
True.
100,000 for mentorship. That's the way it works, right? The training I just had last weekend was with Grant. I paid 25,000 for the diamond ticket, 3 days, flight ticket, hotel. I stayed in was still another over 20,000. Right, to go and learn from one man. In May again, I'm going for a new program, $150,000. Right, so
it's not free.
Yoruba will say, it's the quality of information at your disposal that determine how you fly. It's what the bird eats that it uses to fly. So if you call yourself big boy or big girl, and you're not eating big mentorship,
yeah, true,
you're on your own, because you're going to lose all that money.
Absolutely,
you're going to lose it.
And better to learn from them and not make
absolutely you have to look for people who really have the result. And they don't have time. They're not playing around. So if to really get their attention, you have to be willing to pay them well.
Sure.
Or serve them well.
Serve them, two pathways. You said that over the weekend, and I think it's true. Serve or pay for it.
Absolutely.
Pay for the access. I would like you to speak about corporapreneurship. I mean, I know that you and your wife are in the business. Myself and my wife are also in our business. For someone out there, I consider it the best form of partnership.
If you can sack your spouse, yes.
You said that on Saturday.
Don't partner with your spouse if you can't fire them.
Yeah, I mean, fair point. For someone looking to make that decision, what would you say additionally?
I think for me, it's ownership of your business should be with your spouse. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But management of your business should only be with a spouse that you can fire. Right? Nothing more. So I've seen the same way we talk about businesses that are doing well. We've also seen businesses that crumble.
True, absolutely.
Because of the spouse. Right? Even in ministries that are messed up because the attitude of the spouse. So don't be emotional or sentimental about it. It's your choice if you are a rich entrepreneur to say, hey, by the virtue of family ties, a portion of my wealth belongs to my spouse. That's fine. Or we own it equally, or whatever way you want to spread it, that's fine. But management should be for managers. Sound managers, sound people who really have what it takes to really grow the business and run the business well. And I think that would be my first advice. My second advice is, in the workplace, it shouldn't be romance. We should know who is the boss. And it can be either way. If the wife is the one that started the business and you, the husband, are joining, you should be willing to respect your wife as the boss in that place of work. True. When you go home, you can be playing you are the ogre there. If you believe in in that formula. But we must know anything with two heads is a monster.
True. Yeah, like
We must know clearly who is the boss, if you choose to do business together. Because those are the little issues that I see with people. I don't run a family business, I don't. My wife happened to run one of our subsidiaries. But if you come to our office, she's not number 2 to me, she's not number 3 to me, she's not number 4 to me. Right? So we must make that very clear, because I've seen people then turn it to family, bring spouse, bring couple, bring cousin, bring nephew, bring brother, bring it's the quickest way
to wreck everything.
Because they will be too emotional.
True. Emotions.
There will be family meetings the day you choose to sack somebody that didn't do well. But if you then are lucky, like I'm lucky, to find a spouse that is willing to respect your, the authority in that business, and ready to treat you as a boss,
competent,
and the day she gets query, she's not going to reflect in the other room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then yes, employ such people. Same thing with your cousins. If they are willing to obey the rules, right? And there's nothing wrong with having family members work with you, but they must be the type of family members you can fire. Never hire people you can fire.
Never hire people you can fire. Well said.
I hope it's not too tough on people watching.
Well said. Let's talk about your writing journey. I also write. I am on 2 books now, but the 3rd book has been a manuscript for 3 years.
Wow.
So I was thinking, how do you do this? How do you, for someone out there who has a passion for writing, how do you overcome the writer's block, like they say? How do you turn this out with your busy schedule?
Good question. I have a secret. The secret is, maybe this is the first time I'm sharing that. Is that in recent years I don't write my books.
Okay.
So 2 ways I do my book. I just write little by little. Almost every day I write. Right. Secondly is also I do video content a lot. So when it's time to write a book, my team gather all the video content and they transcribe it.
That's smart.
Then editors edit and the book is out.
Wow.
So literally in 1 month we can chunk out a book.
Wow. That's very smart.
Because I've done over 3,000 videos. Right, so I'm always doing content, videos. So we just transcribe. So I already have a team that is in charge of that. My team is over, those who manage my brand are about 20 employees.
Wow.
On my brand alone, yeah.
Wow.
So they had copywriter, editor, transcribers, all manner. Yeah.
That's so smart. I'm sure God will be happy with you. every insight I give this man, it doesn't. Nothing is wasted. That's very smart. Because I was reading some guy called Isaac Asimov. He had written hundreds of books, and they asked him then what was the secret. He said, just write, just keep writing. Write sense, write nonsense, write everything.
Exactly.
It's like speaking. Just keep speaking, and that's really
most
smart.
books actually people don't know. Particularly American leaders, they don't write it. Michelle Obama didn't write a book. Obama didn't. Trump didn't. They have professionals who come interview them, transcribe the interviews, and the book is born. And then you have researchers, of course, who then research the dates, the time, to make sure everything is accurate.
It appears that you're very comfortable with the camera because I think that's another thing. Imposter syndrome and all of that. People,
you just have to do it over and over again. When I started my Facebook Live years ago, over 10 years ago, I would be the only one on the camera, doing the live show. Nobody's joining. But if you check some of those old videos, you see me telling my staff, join now, share now. Because I was practically the one. There may be sometimes one person will watch, and after 30 seconds leave, there is me alone, then maybe 2 people there, But today, some of those videos that I did 10 years ago have 1 million views, 5 million views, 2 million views on the same Facebook.
Wow.
So don't give up. Just keep doing it. Over and over, at some point, you build certain character, certain resilience. I was also, not this comfortable with the camera at the beginning, but if you've done something over and over again,
get used to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. I mean, artificial intelligence, the buzzword now. For a young person out there, not even young people, I mean, this is going to affect everybody. What would you say that they need to do, or we need to do, to thrive in that world?
I mean, I think we need to think of ownership. Let's not, it's a level playing field right now. And so we need to think of data centers. We need to think of chips for AI. How do we manufacture it ourselves in Africa?
Correct.
How do we build data centers in Africa? How do we code as well and chunk out as many AI, softwares as possible, robots as possible? We just need to think ownership, because the way we go about it is consumption, and that's what's happening now. When you go through social media, you see everybody talk about how to consume AI. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can master it for job purposes, for being able to do your job faster and better. Some people should focus on that, but some other people should focus on the business of AI,
the production side,
right? Owning it, building massive wealth in that area. That's the way you should think. But more importantly, keep being authentic, because the more AI comes out, the more most of what we do globally lacks soul, lack
authenticity, originality. That's
and
true.
You are now authentic,
you stand out,
you'll be gold.
Wow, that's true. Very true point. I mean, it just reminded me now. I saw Strive Masiyiwa is I think the richest guy in Zimbabwe. He mentioned he had a picture with this NVIDIA CEO, and they're about to build something on AI.
I wish I want to see our own leaders do that. I want to see a lot of our billionaires think that way, from Dangote, Tony, Adenuga. Those are the direction we need to go. I am considering working with somebody who already has data centers in Ibejuleki. And I toured his facilities recently. Please, I need to remind me so that I can tell my people on this. So I told him, I said, I have massive land.
Let's build it there.
Let's build, because he's having constraint of land now. Let's work together and build bigger version of this.
Absolutely.
In some of our property. So who knows? A few years down the line.
I think Dangote is uninterested, because it turns out that in the post, Strive was saying, Dangote said, that's your area, you go do it. I'll continue to do refinery.
But I can't blame Dangote, because again, Nigeria has bigger issues than AI. We need to also face reality.
We need power to do the AI.
Yes, we need power, but more importantly, we need to also face reality that our problem is in AI. Remember, the reason why the Western world is focusing on AI is that they have population problem
decline,
right? So there's a huge, they're not giving birth to children like they used to. It's becoming a lot more expensive to have domestic work going on. You see. So
they're even incentivizing people to give birth.
Exactly.
Russia, Japan, even in Europe now.
So by AI being pushed out there, AI can now do those jobs for you.
True.
And and that just makes it cheaper. And that's why they are pushing it.
True.
So AI is not necessarily in the best interest of Africa. Let's be honest, because we have huge population, young population. But again, I mean, it's amazing how we're really far ahead. A lot of the guys behind this AI, the engineers are Africans, right? So Africans are not even joking with, they're really stepping up with the AI. The problem usually is that the infrastructure, we're always behind on the infrastructure, and at the end of the day, the guys who control the infrastructure make all the money.
True. Ownership.
So don't blame Dangote. We have bigger problem in petroleum, in
steel
agriculture,
manufacturing, all of those, infrastructure
in power. So if he's telling, Stripe is right, he can't do all.
That's true.
Let him focus on what he knows best.
Awesome. I mean, this has been very insightful. We'll go to a fun segment very shortly, and we ask Doctor some
This might be the
questions.
longest podcast I've ever been interviewed.
I mean, it's been very exciting to hear all of these secrets. Quick question, Doctor.
Yes.
Which would you consider your best pick? If I was going to read one book out of 45, which would you consider your best? I don't have all of them. I bought like 7 on Saturday. This is 5 here. Which would you consider?
I don't know. All my books are good. I don't know what you want me to say. All my books are great. It depends on who you are and what you're looking for.
Okay.
And that's one of the things we've had to do. At some point, you are growing your business. The latest one is important because integrity becomes more difficult.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah,
as you grow your business. Yeah. Not because you don't want to have integrity, because sometimes the definition of integrity is also to be transparent. It's also to be honest with people, even when things don't go right. The Billionaire Habit series has been, in fact, the Billionaire Habit, the first one, Billionaire Habit, is still my best-selling book. I don't know whether this one I just did with Dr. Cosmos will beat it. But it's my best-selling book as well, because people want to understand the habits of wealthy people and all that. But all the books, it depends on your area of need.
Interest.
You want to be a writer. If you have a book on that, you want to be e-commerce. It just depends.
Yeah. On your podcast, Billionaire Habits, which would you consider one shared theme that the billionaire said? One shared idea, just one
that a billionaire said,
or a common theme amongst what they shared on your session.
I think it's the fact that all of them, honestly, from what I saw, was that they all are hardworking people.
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes, we have this mindset of, don't work hard or work smart. But work is inside the work smart.
Work.
Right? There's
work.
Even the network still has work there.
Inside.
Right? The process of networking is still some form of work. Going to golf course, going to clubs, going for meetings, going for parties, going to wherever they hang out, going to even church for those who network in church.
Yeah.
It's still some level of work. So I noticed that they are really hardworking people. Number 2 is vision. They're very visionary.
Yeah, true.
All billionaires are long time. You see people, making moves way years in advance, and you just shake your head at, that level of. Meanwhile, a lot of other people don't think that way. They say, no, I can't see beyond my nose. I want to see today what I can get today. And I'm like, no, you have to think really long term.
Old money, new money. Which do you prefer?
I don't know the difference.
They say old money these days.
I don't know the difference. And the reason is because I'm a young person, but most of my friends are in their 60s and 70s, right? So mentally, I'm very old in my thinking.
Old experiences.
But old money, new money,
hardware, software, or brick and mortar versus online.
I think those things are cliche because they are not necessarily the substance. The principles that run everybody is the same, whether old money or new money. Yes, new money is more loud than old money, and you can't you can't blame them because many of them didn't have what the old money have, right? If I wasn't loud on social media, I won't be here.
Yeah,
I needed
brands, all of
that visibility. True. I needed that free marketing I got on social media.
Absolutely.
And it was a leveler for me. So,
which was harder for you? First 1 million or first 1 billion? And how long did it take you?
First 1 million, let me see. First 1 million was harder, I would say. Yeah, it was harder. It was harder. Because for 7 years I didn't touch 1 million. In terms of cumulatively, yes, but that one customer did 1 million in transaction. I didn't even touch it for years of doing business.
So that was harder for you.
I think it was.
Yeah. it tells you that, I mean, success, like they say, is this is the first part, and the other part is
once the core, and
Yeah.
the core is the habit. That's why my book is not how to become a billionaire, it's habits of
Habits of
billionaire.
billionaires,
Once the habits is there, the rest is a matter of time. You will just produce the rest. It's the core, the engine is the habits.
True. That
Because
keeps you going.
your habit determines your decision, your decisions determines your destiny. So once you get the habit right, the rest is going to be a lot easier.
Awesome. Thank you so much. What's up final words for the people?
Well, people are building wealth anywhere in the world. I don't want you to restrict the reason you haven't built wealth to, it's because I'm in Canada, or because I'm in the US, or because I'm in Nigeria. You can be wealthy anywhere in the world, and you can build massive success. Just be hungry enough, be willing to locate people, who are around you to work with. I mean, you are living the Canadian dream.
Really? I don't know about that.
Yeah, you could be humble about it, but there are few people I've met in this world that customize their car plates in their name. Many put numbers. And you have a beautiful home as well. So you're living the dream, and it's a proof that yes, you are not where you want to be, but it's a proof that people can really rise to whatever height they desire. We should stop this, something stopping me, just this mindset. One of the person I just met before coming to you had the opportunity to get their first house, opportunity to get their second house. In those days here in Canada, they've been here for 27 years. They will come to the house and beg them
to come and buy.
They will do down payment. The bank says, we'll do down payment for you. We'll do everything for you. Just sign.
Sign, yeah.
First time, second time, people around them say, don't do it.
Don't tie you down.
Don't do it. And today, by the time they got exposed to know that this is really how you build wealth in this part of the world. The processes are a lot tougher. The down payment is something they couldn't even afford anymore, and they're regretting it today. Right. So just don't joke with having right people. Even if it's going to cost you. Do it. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Stephen.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. This remains a privilege.
Thank
you for coming. Thank you so much. So please follow Dr. Stephen Akintayo on his IG handle on YouTube. I said it earlier on the show. His books are out there, stephenakintayo.com. There's only so much that can be said in an hour. Please reach out, keep learning. There's a lot more coming. If you're in Africa, I understand the Business Growth Conference is coming in Lagos and Abuja.
Yes.
By all means, be there. That's how to do. You can't wish. You can't tap. I tap the grace. No, that's not enough. Please go there, learn, and like they say, we meet at the top.
Yes.
Also, if you're around this area, the opportunities to invest in the US, you can also extend your investment outside Canada. That's also the diversification journey that Dr. Steve was talking about. By all means, keep making progress, and till we see you again, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for the time.